You mentioned earlier, how did you start your journey as an instructional designer or instructional technologist? You kind of just addressed this. But what was your first gig?
My first gig was I happened to be in banking, and I was in banking using computers and technology quite often. And a RESA director would come in once a week and make the deposit for their RESA office, and we became friends and started building, a relationship and a friendship. And he asked me about computers and was interested in those, but didn't have any knowledge or wasn't sure, what was going on. And I says, well, this is what I know and this is what I enjoy doing. Started talking about technology and some of the things the state of Georgia had with Wayne Computers, and said, would you consider coming to work for us and working with DOE so that we can start evaluating teachers? And I said, that conversion made from moving from the memory typewriters to technology.
Wow, that's quite growth, I would say.
You are right. Of the things that I've seen, and thinking what my grandmother would say now if she was able to see all the changes that would have been here, over this time period. But you're right, I have seen a lot.
Is there any advice that you would give for an incoming professional in the field?
I think the advice that I would have for anyone coming into the field is twofold. One fold is that if you're coming into our field, you have got to be able to talk with people that are not technology savvy. Okay, you've got to be able to build relationships and have that camaraderie with people, because they're not going to believe in you until they have that relationship built. And if you want people to do things, now I have that business background, so a little bit of this is marketing. If I've got something I want to sell, I need to figure out how I can sell this to you. But the way to do that is by building those relationships and having those people to believe in you. You just don't walk in and say, here, everybody needs this, unless it's coming from top down. And I want to introduce something to how to make life easier for the teacher, but yet we want to be sure that we're benefiting the students. And the other piece is that you've got to be able to be flexible, because your idea of coming in and let's train today on Microsoft Excel, and you may walk in to Microsoft Excel and they redid the entire program over the weekend, and brand new today it's all new and all the buttons you were planning to train on are in a different place. Okay, so we've got to be able to revamp, and we've got to be able to have patience, because there are a lot of people that we work with that aren't tech savvy, and we've got to be able to hold their hand. But yet we've also got to be able to recognize those people that are and give them a 2-minute video link and let them go and be on their way, because they don't need to be sitting in a 45-minute training. And we've got to go in and say, okay, this is the cost of this. How can I make this work? How can we get the funds to do this? What in this would make the teacher's life better, and how would this benefit the students? Because the bottom line in my job is that I want the students to be successful. And by teacher being able to do this on a board, work a problem on a board and save it, and not have to turn around and work another problem on the board, and now we've gone to the flat panels. So being able to be flexible, but yet being able to be receptive to change.
What instructional innovations did you or the group or any organization implement? And then can you tell us the process of implementation?
When I was hired in the current school district, and I was your TTIS there, I was challenged with the goal of being able to have students be able to take an assessment and to be able to get immediate feedback with that assessment, and not have to wait until the teacher was able to grade all 150 papers and get those passed back out. And I will tell you that a lot of times when you're looking at new directives coming from, the district wants to move this way, that all teachers and, students aren't receptive to that piece. But what you have to do as a TTIS is to encourage them with positive ways and reasonings. I always say 5 good reasons, but 5 reasons why this is going to help you in your classroom, why it will benefit the students. And one other than just because your paycheck says you're going to have to do this. Again, it goes back to having that rapport with those teachers and you coming in with the new initiatives. And we came in with the assessment initiative using the iRespond kits in the past and being able to take those kits and did we have some setbacks? Yes, we did. It didn't, everything wasn't roses to start with. And then over time, it became the go-to item that the kids just automatically walked in, picked up the remote. The teacher said, oh, yes, I got this. We've got this. And there were enhancements that needed to be made to the program and those type of things. But, over time, it became successful. The students were able to get, I scored an 80. The teacher said, yep, I see where I need to reteach tomorrow. I see where we're excelling. I thought we were behind in that area, but the students were able to grasp that information, even with a little quick formative assessment. So, in my eyes, we've been able to do those assessments within our district. And of course, changes happen. We don't necessarily even need the remotes any longer. And so we've kind of gone with the change. Of course, one company was bought out by another company. And so now we're moving into another area of assessments, and we're able to have those taken, on student laptops or student cell phones right now. And teachers are putting in their own questions versus having a printed copy to use with the remotes. And so we're also moving tentatively to paperless. And so, I feel that the project was a success, but it took time, and it took patience. And I know in the classroom, there's not a lot of time because we don't want to waste instructional time. But I do feel that students being able to take assessments and get that immediate feedback, and those teachers being able to give that immediate feedback, has benefited our school district.
Definitely. And you've kind of already addressed this loosely, but what are the joys of the job and what are some of the challenges of the job?
The challenges to me is the time, because I have served so many schools. This past year I had 5 high schools, which gave me almost 900 teachers, and we've got a lot of projects that we were looking at implementing. I've come across a few things that I wanted to implement with some iPad Pros this year, and I was able to do that successfully with some math teachers at one of my high schools. But the challenge is being able to do everything you want to do in the time constraints that you have, and also knowing that the teachers are having questions and being able to adhere to that many teachers at any given point in time. So I've got to be able to answer a Microsoft Office question, a CTLS Learn question, a assessment question, how do I get in touch with the parent in CTLS Parent, my Clever account, my textbook's not showing up. So those are some of the things as a TTIS that tend to be a challenge, because you have to stop and think. And I'm thinking as we add more tools and we add more projects and more things into our tool belts, it's very difficult to become the master of them all, And so a lot of times I let the students become the master. If I introduce Canva to a student, then I have to just know bits and tidbits of it, and for them to be able to turn in that link in their learning management system for their project. But yet I don't have to know all the bells and whistles inside Canva. That seems to be some of the challenges. And the best part about my job is being able to work with teachers and being able to work with administrators and see how I can help make things easier for them in the classroom, but be able to also do it with a purpose. My reward is seeing students being able to use the devices. And also I've just realized in the last 5 to 10 years is that I've been able to train teachers just a little on a tool, and the teachers take it to 2 or 3 levels higher, and then they're attending conferences, presenting on something that I planted the seed within them. And so, they're in the classroom day to day, and a lot of times it comes better from somebody that's in the classroom day to day but seeing them going off to English conferences or math conferences or tech conferences, and oh look, yep, I remember that little seed. Of course, I don't need any of the credit. I'm just glad to watch them grow and mature and become stronger in their technology skills as well. And the same for administrators, showing them one or two things, and then they're going to the countywide district, and now they're telling other administrators the little seed that I planted for them.
Awesome. When you design courses or trainings, what is the process that you utilize for that?
The main process that I utilize when I'm designing those is determining what it is that I want, what message do I want, or what is it that the teachers need to know to be able to be shared with the students, or what is it that my audience needs to know, and then figure out in a clear path how to get that information to them. Now, everybody doesn't receive the information all at the same time. So always keep in the back of my mind that I've got to provide resources. So there've got to either be video resources or handout resources on a website or somewhere for me to be able to share with them, because I can sit in front of 5 people and say the same thing, and all 5 don't comprehend it or take with them the same way. We all know that we've got visual learners and kinesthetic learners and audio learners. And remember, I'm coming from a business background, because there's nothing any worse than being able to say, oh, here's your how-to document, and 4 steps are left out. And, because I show you something one time, and yourself, we only have that 40 minutes or that 45-minute period there to get this info across, that once we do that, everybody can't comprehend all that in that short a time. So I sit down, I kind of call it a mind map, but here's what it is that we want to get across, and then let's decide how we can get that across. And we usually do a training deck that we share with other members of our department, because we have a place that we hold those. And so we create a training deck, whether it's a PowerPoint or a Sway or whatever. And then we create resources, either handouts, a Word document with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 how-tos on it, or a video screen capturing a video of how to do that. So keeping where it is we want to go at the end, and then coming at the beginning, and then let's pacing ourselves, knowing how much people will be able to comprehend at a time. And remember, everybody is not as tech savvy as you are. So if you go to Home Depot to build that birdhouse, and they lay all these nails in front of me and these hammers, and he tells me to pick up a 6-penny, hey, come over here, help me, I don't know one nail from another. And so I try to keep that in my mind as I am preparing a course, because the savvy folks are going to pick it and move through 1 through 10 real quick. There's others like me at my Home Depot that's going to have to move very slow. Okay.
Is there a particular blog or book that you read for inspiration of daily trends?
Then I always looking at different conferences as they're posting things, because they're posting new things. And then I'm in LinkedIn as well. And keeping, because a lot of times what's in Twitter comes back in LinkedIn, but there's sometimes some different things, because LinkedIn is being a little more professional versus Twitter is now, oh, my school's doing this, your school's doing this is great, athletics is doing this. And so I kind of need to use LinkedIn and Twitter as 2 of my favorites. But also looking at the ISTE conference and I've attended the ISTE conference about 5 times myself. And then we have our Georgia conference, the GAETC, and I presented there. And
then the final question I have, where do you think the field is going to go in the next decade to 2 decades? Like, what do you...
Kicker is figuring out the place in the classroom. And I was asked to serve on a national panel on AI, and I declined, because at that time, I don't have a yes or no answer. It's kind of like I put myself back in the time when I'm training people on the internet, and the internet's coming aboard, and everything's happening, and everything looks good and great. And then, and then all of a sudden negative things started happening. And then what's happened here with AI is that it's got ahead of being able to rope things back in, instead of the Tracy Bork process was, let's wait and let's get some of these bad things, and then we'll open it up to the students and the kids and those folks that are going to take it and go with it. but yet it's opened up, and here it is. And then now we have to go back in digital citizenship. And I work with a lot of English teachers. I work with a lot of things that are having, we've used Turnitin came up with a fantastic program. So now it's like, okay, Turnitin, come on and hurry up and get your AI piece in there, because what we really want, and I noticed that one of the universities in Texas had already made the decision that they're not going to accept, that they want it to be the student work, and that AI doesn't have that personal feeling, but they want it to be the student work. So if you want to get an idea of, go on the internet, I need a topic to research on, get the topic from there or get the topic from AI. Don't let AI rewrite your paper for you. You write your paper for you. And, now we have the other program, Grammarly, that will help you with grammar. But in all honesty, the students need to know how to write. They need to know how to read. They need to know how to do math. We don't quit doing math just because we've got a calculator, And yes, I know 3/4 of the world has a cell phone, and now they can just open the calculator. I see the world changing, and I don't mind it changing. It's just changing a little too fast right now. But, if you compare AI, if you compare it to the internet when it first began, let's see what we can do. And I know that we will still have teachers in the classroom. We've got to have somebody to guide these students. And all of our students, we're as teachers, yourself, that we're not only teachers, we're parents, we're caretakers. We're not just the teacher taking knowledge and passing it on. But I do know that we're going to have to continue finding ways to educate these students in digital manner. And so that's tentatively what I'm thinking for the future. I'm just waiting for the next thing to be able to grasp a hold of. We've gone from the projectors in the classroom and the boards to the smart boards, and then we went to flat panels, and then now where will we be next? And I really don't know, but I know it's going to be an exciting change, and I know education will embrace it. I just still want us to be sure that we're teaching students, that we're not teaching adults, and that we've got to help guide them in a digital citizenship manner.
Thank you. I cannot thank you enough for taking time for this interview and all your insights. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime you need me, you know where to find me, dear. Thank you.